Okay, let's take one big breath together as a group. Ready? Ready? One more time. Up, up, up. And that, my ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of the return of the milk. Return of the milk. Return of the milk. For those of you that have been living under a rock, we've been living under a rock
as well.
Us too.
Yes.
We've taken some time.
At least we're alive.
Yeah, we've taken some time to enjoy life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. But we're back because we are the GLAAD-nominated Tres Leches with Johnny, Ian, and Juan. How are you girls doing?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Ian. Hi, Johnny.
Juani.
Hello.
Well, hello. Sorry, Johnny. It's so nice to be back home where we belong.
Oh,
You are looking swell.
Any excuse
Juani.
for Jerry Herman. Thank you,
Yeah.
darling.
I can tell.
Any excuse
yes,
for Jerry Herman, darling.
Any excuse for Jerry Herman, and that is the honest to God
Put that on a
truth.
shirt.
It was a surreal kind of moment. I know it really hasn't even been that long. Our last episode was in November before we took this
57
hiatus,
days
if you
ago.
will. And yet, was it really?
It's 57 days.
57 days, which is not all that much, but it
December 1st is when it aired. So 57 days.
And so much has happened
that's
in
a long
50
time.
fucking 7 days. Not only
Truly.
personally, but in the world.
Yeah. Juan, do you not believe me? I asked ChatGPT.
Wow, no, it's just I believe you. It's just, sometimes the numbers still are astounding when you really think about it. So much has happened
Since Dorothy left.
dropped in and dropped back out. So much has happened. I have to say, like, to the question of how we are, Johnny, I was so excited at the very notion of doing this again, and I think it's because it's been nice to have this consistent sounding board with the two of you for so long. So even though I was very happy to take the hiatus, I very much needed it in my life and in my bones. I've missed the banter, yes, but I have also missed the kind of lighthearted introspection that we do here on Tres Leches, that like kind of mix of intense but also fun, deep looks at ourselves, and so I'm so happy to be
not
back.
Intense, but in depth.
Perhaps
Sometimes intense.
No,
Yes, that is
definitely
intense.
It'll get intense.
it can get intense. It really, really can.
I love it. Yeah.
I have to. Though, then I was just gonna say
For
that
the first time, no one was interrupting you.
right? The interesting thing is when we're the platform that we use to record, sometimes it's like we're CNN correspondents, like via satellite. We're just waiting for It takes 7 seconds for Anderson's cue to arrive to us in Tel Aviv. But the world has changed a lot since we last recorded. I mean, I think, Johnny, you said that, and it really, really has.
Yeah, I know.
It's changed a lot since January 6th.
Yeah, things have.
Let alone December 1st.
January 6th.
So much.
Oh my goodness. I definitely don't want to make this an episode about like, oh, here we go, another Trump presidency, because I feel like everyone else is doing that, but it is one of those things where 2025 has started and so much has already happened. Lives have been lost, property has been damaged, fires have happened, people have been snubbed for Oscar nominations. I did that on purpose,
Important
making
stuff.
those two things go together. But I really was thinking about like what last year was so crazy, I feel like, for so many people, and personally for me especially. But I'm trying to scorch the earth and start anew. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I mean, I can definitely speak. I am on scorched earth. I am in California right now.
Yeah.
I'm in LA, so I have quite literally been where phoenixes go to die and rise again. Yeah, I know what you mean, and that's also, I think, probably a little bit of the new year. You know, it's that new year energy. And you've been doing, I know, like a bit of a social media cleansing. You're not online as much anymore, so you, I am sure, are feeling quite rejuvenated and you know, with that's a lot of newness in addition to your chin. Like, this is a lot. So I'm just I feel you on that. It's been really nice actually, like being here. You know, it's been really a mixture of emotions. Like, sorry to kind of tangent this in, but like it's been a mix of like obviously sadness and loss and this like survivor's guilt about feeling like, wow, I feel so lucky that everything is okay with me, blah blah blah. But then hearing about so many people and Altadena especially, as one of the neighborhoods that have lost such a like just a huge kind of working class, I don't know what the term would be, but just, you know, it's not like the Palisades. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and so for all of that to be going on, I've also been able to witness the other side of it, which is like the amazing way everyone's come together to help and to donate and to volunteer their time. And, you know, I went and donated something at like one of the churches in Hollywood, and like this person who, his name was Ronaldo, and he was like, thank you so much. And he like really looked at me, and he like looked in my eyes, and he just really meant it. And I, you know, and there was just this moment of like, you just don't feel that all the time. I've literally never been around something like this before. I wasn't in New York for 9/11. Like I've literally never been around like traumatic experiences like this. COVID was maybe the only thing, but that was a different thing, you know? Anyway, so
there's definitely sad. It's a little sad too, though, because it's like, it is, I'm sorry. It's both. It's sad because I feel like, you know, we should experience that more. You know, it's like when someone smiles at you on the street, you're like, why are they smiling? Do I know them? Or like, you know, instead of just being like, wow, that person.
Well, that's me.
You know, smiling at me.
Yeah. I'm the one who's like, a kindness. What does that person need from me? Interesting. Okay. There's gotta be a reason. No, but that's what I'm saying is like, while that was going on, there's also this amazing way that you're like, I feel so, I don't know, kind of like grateful to be alive, to be witnessing some of the beauty that's coming out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It shouldn't require 50,000 scorched acres for LA to extend warmth, but you know, for you know the citizens of LA to really experience that. But it's how we are as humans, you know?
Yeah, that's how that cookie can sometimes crumble.
Indeed. But it is, I thought there was a, you know, odd kind of, you know, Alanis Morissette kind of using ironic in the wrong way, but her kind of irony that you would be back there, Ian, and for that to happen right almost as you settle for a moment in Los Angeles for this to happen.
I know. The universe has I don't even know what sense of humor, but luckily I am safe, and a lot of my, you know, direct friends are safe, and where I'm even recording right now, like we did have to evacuate once because of the Runyon Canyon fire. That was insane. You guys remember we were texting, and I've never seen I mean, I was like going up the little street, which is like Emmett Terrace right there, and gave away the address, and I was coming up that road, and you guys, I literally was like, I'm in Deep Impact. I am in The Day After Tomorrow. Like, I'm in those movies, except The Rock isn't going to come save me from a helicopter.
For real.
Or Jake Gyllenhaal, you know.
Christopher Vernon did instead.
Well,
has a similar body size.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, you fared well. You fared well. Your private firefighter did indeed arrive right on time.
Yes. Gurnon Industries definitely came and saved the day.
Yes.
Juan, I was gonna ask.
It was.
Oh, sorry.
No. That's it. That's it. I'm safe and I'm good and I'm happy to be here.
Juan, how is your cookie crumbling?
You know, I was just talking to my dear friend Anna Chappelle about this the other day, and I want to see if you guys agree with this. That I feel like the new year really started like this week, like just last week.
Yeah.
From Christmas through the inauguration, it kind of felt like we were in this odd limbo. And I think it was because I was anticipating the inauguration and then anticipating the beginning of that, what that meant. So it's almost like that's where this year has really, I mean, and so much has happened, right? We've lived many lives in the month of January, at least 6 of our 9 we've used up. But I'll say this break has been so incredibly important to me. Last fall, I was in a place of a lot of new beginnings. I started a new job. I'm producing a show called Theater All the Moving Parts for public television, and it's a really, really great new opportunity. But it was very intense, and it was really taking a lot of my energy and my time. And I found myself kind of fraying at the seams in many ways. So the break came right on time, and it allowed me to welcome this wonderful new relationship that I've entered, which has been the surprise of, I was just kind of completely taken by surprise. I started dating someone new, and he's absolutely amazing. I think we've been together officially for like, I don't know,
57 days.
Yeah, 57 days, almost essentially since we started our hiatus.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful. So to have a little bit more time to give to him and to settle into that has been great. I also turned 38 on January 9th.
Now she's 37 plus.
Oh God on a wheel. It's terrible. It's a shithole. So I turned 38, and I didn't do a big to do. I had a lot of work to do this month, but I had a
Juan, not paying attention.
Huh? Oh, hello. This is
okay.
For those of you who are not there, Chris Gernon's where
Gorgeous.
Ian is recording his beautiful boxer. It's the most beautiful dog.
Okay. Oh, now he thinks we're playing. Yeah, that's Chester.
So I celebrated my birthday at work. I had a long day, but the next day I flew to Miami, and I had an amazing family dinner at La Carreta, which is an iconic Cuban restaurant on Southwest 40th Street and 87th Avenue, for those who are wondering, in the heart of Westchester. And like Guaniche Center doesn't get much more Cuban than that. And it felt like I was having my 14th birthday. I felt like a little kid again, kind of, because it was just like everyone was there, and I was sitting in the middle of the table. And there was like a cake designed by Etta. If you're from Miami, you know. It was just a quintessential Miami moment, and it prepared me for my 38th year. It was exactly what I needed, and I feel so grateful for my job. I feel so grateful for this new man. His name is Jay. He's just fabulous. The most handsome, sweet, sincere, everything that I've dreamt of for a long time, dreamt about, and hoped for myself. So I have that. And then the fact that we're back together again, our GLAAD nomination, which it's so affirming, and it's just great to be recognized by GLAAD even in that way. And the table that we're sitting at is so overwhelming and crazy. But I'm just grateful, and it's been a long time since I felt this present.
She's dialed in.
Yeah,
I love that.
Very much so.
That's good. It's.
How are you, Johnny?
I'm great. I'm great. I also feel dialed in. I feel ready. I love new beginnings. So I was like, on January 1st, I was like, here we go. And then a week later, I was like, here we go.
Here we
I
don't.
guess, but it's interesting. I realize I get a lot of purpose out of what I do, and like the arts and all of that stuff. It really is. It's less about feeling busy. It's more about feeling like I have a purpose. So I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to stay offline. Everyone that's listened to this podcast knows that I have a contentious relationship with the internet. But I really am trying to stick to my guns and really just use it as a place to be like, oh, this is my life whenever I want to, rather than whenever I feel like I have to. Correct.
Yeah.
And it's funny, even I was at a birthday party this weekend, and I was like, I was talking about it because people are like, what have you been doing? I'm like, I've just been offline. It's like, when you're a vegan, you just really want to talk about it. And people are like, well, but you can't do that with your job. You can't stay offline. I'm like, that's not true. There's plenty of actors that I admire and love that don't have Instagram, or they do, but they don't, use it as a personal thing. So I don't know. It's been really nice to, read and go for walks and go to the gym. I've spent a lot of time working on my fitness goals, and
which is showing.
Thanks. I'm trying.
Damn it, I was going to make a joke of the opposite, but we're doing a happy. We're all so happy to be here. Great. So that's the tone.
It's like, oh, we have you. Okay. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. So it's just, I'm opening my legs, happy baby style. And ready for what New Year's has to bring. That's also, I've been doing I've done 2 yoga references since we started recording.
I've done 2
because I've been doing yoga as well, and it's really centering, and oh God, it's so nice. So nice. I did a class yesterday, and it was all the music I love. It was like Jasmine Sullivan, like SZA, and the class was all about hips. So it was like opening hips. It was like a lot of very, very good.
They weren't lying.
Yeah, it was really great. And it's just so nice to like see other people in the class, like a couple over here, a really ripped gay guy over here, someone that definitely took the class before this over here.
You literally sound like me right now. Like being like, and I love that, and then the yoga and the movement is medicine, and like, I was just like, so in awe of like that person. I'm wondering how their day went. Like that was just so Ian coded, like true, just like awe at the little things.
Yeah, maybe. I think you do have a good way of.
Yeah, possibly.
No. I mean, you do have a way of enjoying the details in the day. Like
romanticizing.
You do, yeah. He'll go for a walk and be like, "Oh, I went for a walk, and then I was on the bike, and I felt the breeze, and and it is very like you're
put on a shoe."
Level. But I think when you're constantly looking down into the screen, which I think me and Juan probably have a harder time with that than you do, and then you finally look up, you do get to notice all the little things. So. Yeah, maybe it is probably the same.
May I ask if the then looming at the beginning of the year, the then looming TikTok ban had anything to do with your desire to kind of, chop off your social media arm for a little while?
No, I think it's just, I think it is how I've been paying attention to the way that people utilize social media lately. When I started reading comments about the fires, when I was trying to keep abreast of what was happening in LA, I was reading really mean things that people were saying, like, "Oh, they'll be fine. This was a hoax." Da 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 da. I was like, I have to sign off. I have to get out of here because it's affecting my mental health. Like I get angry, and I'm the only one in the room. I'm in the living room, pissed for reading some comments that like I think are really terrible. And so that was kind of the impetus for me to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it's not worth it. And so yeah, I think I also want to focus more on work and being creative in that way. And I feel like sometimes we talked about this before, but like I think social media like sucks up your creative flow, your just like going on Grindr for hours sucks up your creative flow.
God.
Like it's just because you're like a crackhead looking for dopamine, so you can't it makes everything else, like I sent you that little thing, but makes everything else a little more gray when you do it. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just add that to your point, Johnny, you were alluding to the fact that it may be a little harder for you and me to put down the phone a little bit more than Ian. And I think it's because we are more brain rotted as far as just like Twitter and the rest of it. And I think acknowledging that, knowing that it's happening, I think it's kind of this mass hysteria where like everyone acknowledges it. It's not like people are not in on the fact that they are completely overly consuming over consuming social media. It's like everyone knows it, and yet we want to do something about it. We talk about doing something about it. We put down our phone, we delete an app, and then we download it again. It's this really vicious. I remember like many years ago when people would say like, food addiction is the worst because you got to eat to live. You know what I mean? And it's almost like with social media, it's kind of similar because I would say that I got to use social media. You got to use social media because how else are you going to feel alive? Mm-hmm. How else are you going to feel connected to people, which is such a way that we conjure meaning to our life by sharing and consuming. We used to do it by, calling someone or sending a letter, whatever the hell they did during World War II. But now when you cut off Instagram or you take away a social media platform that you've used to connect with people, you feel like you are floating sometimes. So then you get right back on the dopamine bandwagon.
Yeah.
And I think, the TikTok ban is an interesting thing that happened in the midst of all the things that were happening in the world. Like, we have I cannot believe that we are still, the war in Palestine is still raging. Well, not raging, but it's still very much going on. Oh. Not raging like it was 4 months ago, at least, or even last month. It's still going on. We have a new president. The Oscar nominations have come out. The Golden Globes have happened. 1,400 new movies. Jimmy Carter is dead. And then on top of that, one of the biggest social media platforms of all time disappeared for 9 hours. And what that represented for me, out of all the things, was this real moment where it was like, oh my goodness, it's all fake. Mm-hmm. It's really all fake. Because if it can just disappear, but what do you mean it can just disappear?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that it was like, okay, the scroll is gone. If you didn't save the video, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. It's gone. Just like Vine, or like, remember when Vine was around and Tumblr, like those things just don't exist anymore. And we made do. Like I think about that a lot because I think about like war and, all the things that could happen in the world. But like even what we're doing right now is taken for granted. Like the fact that we can have this medium to talk, to connect and record a podcast didn't exist until a little while ago, or, and so if something were to happen and we lost all of our technology, what would we do? Like we'd be like, if our hue lights didn't work on the back of our television, like what would we do?
What would we do? God damn it.
We would be fine because we would live, and it's also that one of those things is like the next generation. Cause like, I feel like we had before internet and during internet. And so it feels like, you'd really have to go back to bare bones. And like, I was thinking of taking a woodworking class the other day. Cause I was like, what if I have like, not in a way of like, I have to build a bunker, but like, what if I wanted to, it's like, what if I wanted to build furniture? That's hilarious. If I needed to build furniture? What, I don't know. Like there's just a lot of skills that I think we could be using and doing and making and, crafting and, I don't know. I think part of when the TikTok ban happened, I was like, take them all away. Take them all away, because before the internet, it's not like we didn't have connections with people. It's not like we didn't have friends. It's not like we didn't go on vacation and meet new lovers and, have romance. And we did all of those things. They were in movies too, like all of this existed before the internet. So while it feels like, oh my God, what would we do without Instagram or TikTok? It's like we'd make do. We'd make do.
Yeah. But to play devil's advocate, when TikTok disappeared, when you mentioned Vine and Tumblr disappearing, the size of those apps, the impact that those apps had, was so minuscule compared to what TikTok is, what it has done.
Yeah, of course.
And you're right. We did connect before this. We will, and if it all disappeared, we'd connect in an analog way again. Yeah. More analog. People are still connecting at bars, etc., but we do more of it. But what made me sad is not so much personally sad, because I'm not very active on TikTok, but for the people that have found community, for the people that have all of the cores, cottage core, this core, all the communities that have come together in this place, that the fact that, listen, it was just for 9 hours and it's back. So I'm talking about it as if it disappeared forever.
Yeah.
But, I think it reminded me that the internet, as permanent as we think it is, isn't. And we need to make sure that our real life is as nutritious as our online life. I saw yesterday someone talking about una Latina. I don't even know who she's a Puerto Rican girl from New York. I remember that much. I got to find her handle, but she was talking about how we need to have hobbies.
J-Lo.
What's it, J-Lo? Honey, J-Lo has hobbies. That's a woman who has a few things.
A Puerto Rican girl from New York? Regularly. I know her.
Yeah, I know her. I know her well. We're going to talk about that in a moment. We're going to get back to that, but put a pin in it. She was talking about how we need hobbies, right? And there are different kinds of hobbies. There are the hobbies that spark your creativity. Pottery classes, painting classes, sewing, knitting, whatever. There are those that stimulate the brain. Reading, chess, puzzles, whatever. There are those social hobbies. Pickleball, trivia nights, whatever they is. And it seems so simple, but it's true. You have to kind of look at what are the things that that interest you, or the kind of the gaps in your life, and see, okay, if I want to be more creatively challenged, and just start with something small like that, a little hobby.
Yeah. It's hard too, because I feel like I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing this. And it's like,
yeah,
you don't also have to be so like cut and dry, like this is this and this is this and no more this and that, because also it's not attainable that way. It's like, I'm going on a diet and I'm only eating chicken breast and broccoli, but usually what I eat is honey buns and Skittles. Like, it will work, but it won't last because you're not implementing it. I mean, Ian, do you have any thoughts about that? A hobby. I feel like Ian has a lot of little interests.
I know. I was listening to both of you kind of just like commiserate about whatever you were just talking about, and I thought, I have all of that pretty much handled. No, just kidding. But I do, and that's why I do so well unemployed.
Right. She's like, all
Andrew Chappelle made that joke years ago. He was like, baby, you when you're employed, good, great, like awesome. But when you're unemployed, you be living. And I'm like, I guess I somehow have made that work. And I've always thought about it because he's right. I'm also available for friendship, and I make good dinners. So this is for anyone listening who's looking for it. No, I don't want to find a boyfriend from this podcast. Anyway,
1,000 thoughts. Hey, I did.
I feel like if you found a boyfriend,
your boyfriend was found because he was following me first from the COVID. If we're really going to go down through the history of it all,
context.
Yeah. Same. Exactly, but it's true. Enough about Juan. You asked me a question.
Yes.
No. What was he just saying? No, I completely agree. I agree with everything you're both saying. Like, I think actually one of the things that, all jokes aside, I've actually been lacking a little bit in my own life is is a hobby, or like things that I have felt passionate about throughout my life that were very nutritious that I've kind of like not engaged with. I haven't taken as much dance classes before. I used to be, to quote what Juan is saying, I used to be more present. I've clocked that. This year has been a big year of like that awareness of like, whoa, like I've been so turbulent, and you know, the online, you know, work from home, social media life has really done a number on my self-esteem, and just like
it'll do that.
It will. And so since being in LA, I've clocked how much of that was going on, and like what I've been like kind of accessing, what I've not been accessing. And yeah, I wish I was taking more dance classes. I wish I was in more, you know, but then things like come into play, like money, and then feeling stressed about, well, I want to save my resources for this or that, or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, what ends up happening, if you, and I'm literally coaching myself right now, it's like, still go do the thing though. Is that money well spent on your soul? Because if it is, it will come back, you know, tenfold. It might
inspire other things that might get you money.
Likely.
Yeah. Even deciding to come here from New York, I was like, oh, I feel like I was getting in my head around like that I was maybe giving up on New York for literally the month of like February and January or whatever. But really what I did was I made a smart decision that has allowed me to feel a lot more like spacious here. Like there's been space to just kind of be, and I don't feel as turbulent, and I felt more creative, and I just need light is a huge thing. Like what?
I think that's exactly right. There needs to be light. And I have this happened in 2016 too. There can be this, it's gotten a little bit better in the social media zeitgeist in the last maybe couple of days, but times are somewhat dark. And for, you know, especially for queer people, it's a very scary time.
I know Emilia Perez is being nominated for 13 nominations, so we've really we have got to band together. More on that,
please. Both as Latino, that movie offends me as a Latino, as a gay man, as a queer on many fronts. We'll talk about that.
Sorry
also.
to this woman. Sorry to this woman.
Oh my God.
That's a joke for anyone who hasn't seen or heard the sound. Get it?
Yeah, and we'll see if it makes the cut of this.
From woman to man.
Yes.
To woman. That actually sounded better than the guy. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I'm actually impressed you remembered a tune from the movie. Were you singing from the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a scene.
I thought you haven't seen
Doctor.
I haven't seen it, but before I got off TikTok, it was a sound that was going viral because it was right after the Golden Globes. From Venus to Vagina. Globes, yeah. Like, you haven't heard that? You haven't seen it?
I haven't. No, my ears have been blessed.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
She's like, I want to know about the sex change operation. He's like, man to woman or woman to man to woman, from penis to vagina. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What I just did is literally the words of the song.
It's
Oscar-nominated film.
Art. Gotta love art. Though, yeah.
I think, I'm the only one who's really seen it.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that it offended me. I was deep, you know, it's like Sue Sylvester once said on Glee.
Zanini? That one?
At first I was aroused, and then I was terribly offended. And what did you say? At first I was aroused, and then I was deeply offended. And the movie is so strange because it is obviously told by someone who's never, ever, ever met a single Latino in their life.
Wow.
It was written on Mars about Mexicans that don't exist, using a form of Spanish that has never been spoken, speaking about queer people that have never sucked dick or eaten vaginas. It's from another planet. And I feel so strange because people like it, which is fine, and I don't get it.
What people?
A lot of people like it.
Enough to get up.
It was critically listen. It was critically acclaimed. The music is novel, but musical theater is such an American art form, and it felt so un-American, which is fine. But it also didn't feel like something else. And it felt disingenuous. It felt like a gimmick to musicalize it for the sake of it, to like make it even, to be like, oh yeah, you want to see what we can do? Oh, it's gonna be such a good movie, best movie ever. We're gonna make it a musical. It was like enough. It was a hat on a hat on a hat. Like it's just too many things. Does Selena Gomez have like fans like Swifties?
Yes, and that was a thing that happened like a month or two ago, that when it was out, there was, I forget that famous Mexican
Eugenio
actor.
Derbez.
Thank you. He was on a podcast, and they were, and they were very just kind of like, not even bad. They weren't even like trashing it. It was just like they were having an honest conversation where they, like a lot of people, were so confused. They were genuinely baffled by the lack of discernment around the Mexican, the authentic Mexicanness of the movie, and the bad Spanish, like the Spanish that just was like, oh, like in a world where you could have gotten someone who maybe just even speaks it better. I understand she's Selena Gomez and it's her name, blah, blah, blah. So there was this whole conversation, and he just shared very, candidly how embarrassed he was, or like kind of like the confusion over it. And then I don't even know, Selena fans like obviously went after him. It was a whole thing. But then even Selena commented on the TikTok video and was like, hey, I just want to say, like, I did the best I could with the time I had, and I really gave it my all. And he issued an apology, blah, blah, blah. And it was fine. But it was this interesting moment to witness, because I got both sides. I was like, yeah, it's like not her fault. She was hired to do this, and she did the best she could, which I believe. But at the same time, you go, oh my God, but this is so not the thing they're saying it is, so.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. Selena Gomez's performance is she's compelling. She's compelling. It's really not, the issue is not the performances. The performances are actually pretty good. Zoe Saldana is excellent. Everyone is excellent. It's really just it's the presentation. It's a problem I have with the director. Carla Sofia Gascon is exquisite in it. It's really not that. It just doesn't ever quite sit with me. It doesn't sit well with me. But something I wanted to say earlier, and how we kind of led us to Emilia Perez, and it actually works out perfectly, is that in a time like this, when things are as heavy as they are, and I remember this in 2016, it happened then too. We have a war going on. We've got disenfranchised people are being threatened by the Trump administration. There is a raging war still in Ukraine. There's, of course, Israel, Gaza. There's so many really, really serious things, inflation and that there can be a little bit of a resistance to enjoy things in life then, because it feels tacky, like to be like stuff? Exactly, pop culture, it feels kind of inappropriate to laugh or to have fun. And I guess the way, and I think this is because I'm a journalist, so journalists have a weird kind of crazy fucked up sense of humor. You can talk about a bus rolling over and killing all 65 in it and be like, wow, that sucks. By the way, did you see that picture with Kim Kardashian? Her cellulite looked really pronounced in that picture. And by the way, did you by any chance see that lady who was decapitated? Unbelievable footage. We should use it in the show tonight. It was awesome. I think it's because we do that. So I hope that people can also do that. Like, enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Take this. It's a serious time, but you still need to find joy where you can find it.
Yeah.
And your brain is powerful, and you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Correct.
Right.
That is very,
And also, our brains are not made to take in as much information about what happens in the world as it does, because war has always raged since the beginning of time. Some wars are harsher than others. Some are, deadlier than others. Foreign affairs are always in an upheaval. You know, it's just sometimes Americans don't feel as though they're in the crosshairs, and I feel like that sometimes. But again, it's like you can only change what you can change. You can only do what you can do, like Ian going and donating money, not money, Ian donating clothes and, you know, his time. That is something that you can do, and then you can go and have a nice lunch with your friend. It's, you know, it's possible. And I think also being online, it's like the Olympics of who can be the best person in the world. And it's like you can do that without feeling bad, or you don't have to, like, you don't have to actually, you know, and you also are still a good person, you know?
Yeah. It's being friends with your shadow, and, you know, whilst also trying to stay in the light and be the light, and, you know, hopefully be a light for other people. And yeah, I forget, there's this great quote, I'm going to try and find it, but a writer once wrote that, like, the best cure during war is make art, and and not to escape from the war, but it's a way to help process. It's a way to for all of us to connect on something that allows us to feel and have these moments of, like, catharsis, you know. And it does no one any good to deny that on either side, right? Like, feel that like feel the loss, and you can feel like, wow, I'm this is such a dark time, and it's if it doesn't bring you introspection, then I don't know what to tell you. But, like, you know, the hope is, like, it is doing that, and then, like you're saying, you can be like, wow, Keke Palmer, one of them days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, have you guys seen it? I think I am seeing it tonight. I'm so excited.
I saw it last night.
Oh my god, that's right. Wait. Oh my god.
Envious.
I saw it last night.
What's it called?
One of them days.
One of them days.
It takes place in 24-hour period, and it is it's just so fun. It is very, you know, ridiculous. It's camp. It's just Keke Palmer. You know, I was gonna say earlier, Juan, you remind me of Keke Palmer in the way in which you speak, because you speak so much like Juan that, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you can imitate someone very easily because they have very clocky features of, like,
how
that's them.
That's them.
You know?
Oh my god.
But,
Yeah.
you know, there are just so many Kiki-isms where she's in the movie and she's doing the hey with her teeth. And, you know, girl.
No, she is on another level.
That's the slave him. Like,
oh my god. Perfect example is we can feel sad for Tom Hanks's, you know, family house being burnt down, and Paris Hilton's house burnt down in Altadena, and also laugh at that's a slave him. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
We need both.
For those of you who don't know what she's talking about Defying Gravity, you know, in her press tour with Issa Rae and SZA. But yeah, the movie it's a lot of fun. I was, like, giggling and laughing, and I didn't need it to be anything other than it needed to be. It also reminded me of LA. Like, I mean, it takes place in LA, so it's, you know, it's like a little love letter to the hood.
Oh, I love that.
And it was nice to see SZA doing, you know, acting.
Oh my god.
Yes.
She's been really fun to watch on the press tour, because I didn't know her, you know, kind of like a Beyonce. I'm like, who is she? What is she? What makes her tick? You know, but she is allowing us to actually see it and experience it. And I'm obsessed with how she does her nose. I'm just kind of like, I love the sort of, like, weird, her makeup is so severe. Like, she's giving Michael Jackson nose, and then, like, she's like a cartoon, but in the best way. She's like if Betty Boop was alive and 17 years old and cool and, like, not so, like, you know what I mean? She's just like, but she has that thing of, there's just a voluptuousness.
She does look like a doll. She's like, like an actual porcelain doll.
She does.
And then she opens her mouth, and you're like, oh my god, I love you. She's just so, like, wicked. Oh, okay. Like, just her, just sort of a soft spokenness to her. Like, there's, like, a thing. Great SZA impression. But speaking about that, pin it. Speaking about that moment, not to dissect why it is perfect, but yes, Keke is amazing for being like, and and then slave him. But to me, it's the domino effect of like Issa Rae being like she did it. You couldn't have expected those words to come out of Kiki's mouth. And then SZA to just be in that moment. It's so like, a slave him is so like, it's just so good. It's literally.
We'll just actually do it. So Kiki like does the Cynthia Erivo battle cry, like, that's a slave hymn, and it's that kind of miraculous timing.
Yeah, I thought we were role playing there.
Someone who has appeared on the Disney Channel.
Right? Didn't he say, he's like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it. And then I was like, oh, so you're just doing the Kiki part. But I was ready to be.
So they hear that.
Ian was ready to come in as Issa Rae, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
sorry.
it.
No,
sorry,
my God.
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying. And we're back.
Sorry. I was just saying that is like, that's training. That's someone who had to make unfunny things funny and then is also funny.
Yeah.
So she's just outrageous. And the beauty that she has delivered on every morning show. It's a big deal. Very few people, very few celebrities are invited to be on Good Morning America and then on the Today Show the following day because they compete. So they don't want to share celebrities. They typically don't want, if you're like, and I'm talking big people,
right?
Yeah. A-list celebrities. The morning shows will fight. The early show, Good Morning America, not the early show. Oh my God, that's what it used to be called. CBS Mornings, Good Morning America, and the Today Show. I have an Emmy for working in morning television, so I should know. They compete and don't like to share the goods. So the fact that Keke Palmer was on GMA and the following day was on the Today Show is a testament to how irresistible she is.
Yeah.
She is,
and how much fun she is to have on set.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you want her there?
Yeah. It's a really great point. And it oozes.
There's a scene that's clearly improv. I mean, there's a lot of improv in the movie, but there's a scene with this like Latina girl, and I love when someone that I don't know as an actor shows up and plays with the actors I do know. Is eating the scene in this. A lot of the characters in this movie chew the scenery.
Sure.
And I really, it's one of those two that's like, oh, this person from this movie, and this person from Abbott Elementary, and
Yeah,
so
a family affair.
Have fun. A family
I love
affair
that
for sure.
So can I ask, since our last meeting, what would you say has been like something really good, like a highlight that you didn't share on social media, or something that no one knows yet? An exclusive.
Oh, wow. Ugh. I'm not going to do it. Juan, I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
Do what?
No, you don't have to.
Yeah. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Do something else.
Well, my boyfriend turned 27. And it was really nice to just spend the day with him and like do little things. Like, this is also the thing, because I'm not like putting my creativity online. I'm like being creative with like what I do with him. But like, I was like, I want to get him a couple gifts, but I want to spread them out throughout the day. So basically what I did was I bought him a gift. The gift was an outfit. And so I started the day with balloons.
One for the Sandlot or one for not the Sandlot?
What do you mean?
That was a terrible joke.
Oh.
Keep going.
So I started the day off with Calvin Klein underwear. And then after breakfast, we went and got pants and a shirt. And then at dinner, I gave him a gold necklace, like the one I have, because he's always wanted one. And at the end, I was like, and see, there you go. At the end of the day, you have an outfit. Because I just love stuff like that. It's it's fun and quirky. And
Universal
cute.
City Walk. Who said, "Come over here, baby. I will give you the Sibilly Productions experience."
Right.
I love the making things special, making it nice. You made it nice.
Making it nice. I like to make it nice, especially for birthdays. I feel like birthdays, even if you don't have like a big thing or a party, or it's just nice to do a little something for somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. As I shared early with my birthday this year, it was kind of like that, you know? It's just like, it was still very meaningful. It meant a lot to me, even though it wasn't the biggest birthday I've ever had, but it was lovely.
And it's also so sweet, like, so nostalgic to go to La Carreta and, like, have, cute birthday moment.
I know, with like 20 people. It was fun. It was fun.
And then by professional, I didn't share, probably won't until it happens, but I guess I'll share here, is that, we're doing a season 5 of Spill takes New York City.
Oh my God, yes.
Spill in the city. So
yes, you had alluded to it.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to New York and do it there with.
That's very fun.
The team.
A new place, a new scene, a new vibe.
It'll feel so. I don't know. I'm so excited for it because it just feels more me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it's an excuse. I mean, go to New York. It's like you'll be there.
Exactly for work.
For work, honey. Wait, what are the dates?
I think the last week of February.
Got it. Okay, so listeners, if you guys want to go and do like your Broadway week and possibly bump into Johnny Sibilly on the streets of New York, that is when you should book your ticket.
Yeah, we'll set up the meet and greet.
Set up the meet and greet.
I'll do it for you since you're not on socials, but happy to.
Exactly. Work. I want to live in that. It's so funny. I always like, I'll just give my social media to the team, and I'm like, yeah, but then they would see my DMs, and that would work.
Yeah, and then you'd have to stop. Maybe I've thought about that. I'm like, when people do that, are you just not DMing in the way, or is it like from the hours of here to here? Do you know what I mean? Like how? I'm so curious.
No, honey, I don't trust any intern with the password because that is if it were me, I'd be scrolling.
You'd be snooping.
Oh,
I'd be scrolling. I'd be like,
snooping.
Who's that?
Snooping and a scooping.
Yeah. All right, I want to.
This is not the same, but similar. Something that I worry about is to have children. I will. There is no way that I could ever possibly clean my phone enough. It's not possible. If I started right now and did it every minute, 24 hours a day until I was 65, I would not be able to get my phone to a place where a child, my child, could be like, "Hey, give me your phone," and I could give it to them. No, but not even for scrolling. Just to look up the weather. There's just nowhere they could go on my phone that is not a landmine.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm going to have another phone for them.
You don't use the hidden folder?
There's too much to hide. I'd have nothing on the outside. Because it's dick pic, picture of my grandmother, picture of Rosa Parks, picture of, it's like it's a mess.
And that's the balance we were talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
I love cheap and chic, Moschino. So I would say that my moment was something that just happened actually last week. My boyfriend came to town.
Week.
Week. Yeah, that's how hypey I am. I'm adding an H after words that don't even have it. My boyfriend came to town, and he had always wanted to go to the opera, and I got us to go tickets to see the new production, Michael Mayer's new production of Aida at the Met, and it was just a wonderful night. We went to Rosa Mexicana, had like the quintessential Lincoln Center night, and it was such a treat. And I loved. I'm not the biggest opera fan in the world. I love going. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. But I don't like listen to operas, from start to finish at home or anything like that. I don't like know them in German or anything. But Aida is really beautiful, and I like going. And to be able to share that with someone who had never been to it, and if you've never been to the Met to see an opera,
it's amazing. It's such an experience.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that.
It's extraordinary.
Even a ballet?
I don't think so.
The ballet is beautiful too, but
I've seen like an orchestral concert, but that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, it is me.
The Met is under tremendous financial stress, so they have really downsized their productions.
Oh.
And yet still, it's bigger and better than anything they could ever do on Broadway.
Wow.
Like, there's 200 people.
On stage.
200 people. You can't get the entire cast of Death Becomes Her to do a fucking matinee. There's 15 of them. 10 of them are Broadway debuts. Megan Hilty's been out every Saturday since Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Is that real? Is that really true?
Not every Saturday, but a lot of the Saturday.
Okay.
And they have 200 people.
She's so Cuban.
Se murió. Well, not really. She
What's
didn't die.
crazy
But
is that working in news and being Hispanic is wild because I'm sure you have to temper yourself all the time.
Oh my God.
Constantly.
Wow.
Constantly. I do have to temper my. I do. But this is the last tangent. I think also as Latinos, like we're used to seeing Spanish language television, which is so much more aggressive than English news. Like you see more,
Yeah.
like on ABC, on NBC, when there's a body on the floor, they cut away. On Univision and Telemundo, they zoom in. They ask you to share and like the post. Just our tolerance for ugliness. The world's ugliness is bigger than a white audience.
It's probably why also being in being Latino, we also revere beauty as much the same way.
Correct.
You know what I mean? The standard is higher in that regard as well.
From one to the other.
Correct. Quickly, just to finish off our highlights since we've last spoke, I would say one thing that happened around the TikTok ban was this feeling of appreciation I got because I, like some other creators, most of us, we had no idea what was going on, and I did like a thank you, like this was so fun. Oh, and there went my light. But I will prevail. And so I did like a thank you and this and that, and like I posted the like top 10 or top 8 videos of like when Chris and I first came on the scene, the TikToks of it all, right? And I was so in my head around like, oh, what's this gonna look like, and just blah blah blah. But it was like, no, this was a meaningful moment to me. This is why this all happened in the way that it did. And they were fucking hilarious. Like even watching them, I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe I did that. Like I can't believe we did that together. And it really was a testament to how comfortable I felt with Chris and just like the fun and play we had.
The likes were liking.
And the likes were liking, and like I so many people, it was, I mean, it's crazy to see. They were like, oh my God, I remember this. You guys were, to see such beautiful like memories wrapped around this video, this like content we made, and how it had inspired, affected, or just kind of touched so many people, or for either if it was just so funny, or if it had to do with like such a good communicator. Oh my God, you guys were the first TikTok couple, like you were the first follow ever on the app. Like that's kind of crazy, like you forget about these things. And so wrapped in those couple of days, I was kind of reminded of like a little bit of my own like joy. I was like, oh my God, like rewatching it reminded me of like a fun or a joy or a thing that like felt so easy and silly that I haven't really been able to maybe access as easily since. And so that was nice to kind of just like have a moment of appreciation and gratitude for it. Like I was like, oh my God, like that's really nice. That's what it is. Like let's get back to that. Like, new, like moving forward, obviously, but this feeling of like, how can I get back to like that, and so what?
Just gotta find what's another Ian and David.
Oh my God. LOL.
David, darling. If I had a boyfriend named David, that's what I'd call him. David, darling.
David, darling.
David.
Yeah, I had a David.
You did? David. Oh, I love David.
Yeah, David was wonderful. He's the best.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. The absolute best.
Oh my God. Well, you guys, I think
we've done it.
I think
this
we did.
Has been a lovely catch up.
I hope the listeners
episode had
what
made fewer points than Megyn Kelly.
Oh.
During her
I was
last
gonna make
year
it
at
like
NBC.
Ariana Grande's wands, all of her training wands.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to catch
Megyn Kelly
up.
on my mind? I haven't thought about that bitch in 3 years.
So neither has America.
That's right.
What
did Andrew Chappelle say?
We were talking about Megyn Kelly earlier.
Oh, got it. He said, "Well, no, it's in your thing."
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's okay to just
milkers. We're happy to be back. We're happy that you're listening, and we can't wait to bring more this year. It's going to be a crazy one. I just know it.
And remember,
mark my words.
Feeling follows action, everybody. So wherever you are in your world, just remember that feeling follows action. So do the thing. Just do the thing. You know what I mean? Get back on the horse. Get the new hobby. Hire the skinny
fat girl.
Sorry. But do it. Yeah, because then you'll learn maybe, you just never know. All the things.
Make sure you are a walking DEI initiative.
Get STI tested. Make sure to stay, we have a lot of queer listeners as well as women.
And lastly, please, if you haven't done so already, maybe not with the quality of this episode, but think back to another one. A good one.
Harken back to that time.
When they were tight and we talked about a thing. Beautiful star thing. We had something to talk about. And rate that episode. Give us an episode, a good rating on iTunes. That will help us out. It helps us. I love when podcast people are like, your ratings and subscriptions helps new people find us. And it does, but it just seems like, I don't love that. Helps new people find us. Anyway.
God, that's
so fucking do it. Just do it.
Just and also give us the note. Be like, you know what? This was good. Cause then it really tells us that you were listening.
They give us notes.
Oh, work.
They give us notes.
It's probably best that you see them before me, because I would be a little like, oh no, but mine have been good. Mine have always been like, I really hear myself in Ian's neurosis. Truly, that I would say has been.
That's what I was
constant.
saying. If you find a man from the podcast, that's the best man to be with, because he knows your neuroses.
You're right.
He's heard it.
You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Hey, here, listen to these 3 episodes, and you come back to me and let me know if you want a second date.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about dinner. Then we'll talk about some spatchcock chicken, maybe some picadillo, whichever one.
Chicken.
Spatchcock chicken. It's just so much easy. It's so easy to make. I didn't realize it's such a white thing that I learned this year, actually, from Robert Van.
Oh, it's good.
It is good. And then, and I lie, sorry.
Right,
and then a black man, Jerry Dixon. So both. Again, see, look at me. I'm awake. I'm awoke.
I'm kidding.
Which is better? I'm a witch and you're a witch. Okay.
And which is which?
I felt like I wanted to end,
Spark.
We love you. Thank
you for
listening. Bye. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
¡Qué rico!